Definition of ready. In the previous PremierAgile Learning Shorts, we took a look at the definition of done. Today, let's dive into the definition of ready. This term is defined so as to keep track of the items at the top of the product backlog that has fulfilled certain preconditions and can be planned in a sprint, such that the developers could complete it before the end of the sprint. In simple terms, it is a checklist of criteria that must be fulfilled by the product owner to check the readiness of the product backlog. As with the definition of done, the definition of ready list is made by the developers along with the product owner. What are the indicators that your team requires definition of ready? 1. Sufficient information is not available for the developers to build the user stories during sprint execution. 2. Your team has a huge number of clients who are not aware of interface rules. 3. Legal information protection permissions are required to incorporate the feature. 4. The product owner shifts the needs for projects in the middle of a sprint, rendering the work completed previously by the team redundant. 5. If separate business units use the functionality of your system at once and forget to coordinate transition between themselves. 6. If your business has big ventures spanning several teams. In fact, the definition of ready acts as a kind of guard against excessive activity for the production team. Let's consider a situation. Imagine taking on a project where the client hasn't yet consulted with an attorney. The strategy later turns out to be contrary to regulations, which means all the work done is meaningless during the sprint. The team is demoralized, the client suffers losses. Definition of ready should shield us from such situations. Let's now check out some of the examples of the definition of ready. A user story is defined, feasible, testable, and clear. Dependencies of a user story are recognized. The acceptance criteria of a user story are defined. Performance and efforts of the team are estimated. There should be at least one acceptance criteria to every user story. To ensure that the product meets customer expectations, certain features and ideas have to be added to it from time to time. Defining the criteria for the features to be added is absolutely necessary, and that's when the definition of ready and definition of done come into play. So to summarize, let's finally look at two key differences between definition of done and definition of ready. Difference 1. Definition of done is defined as a checklist for all the sprint backlog items that have passed all the conditions and acceptance criteria and are ready to be accepted by the users, consumers, or teams. On the other hand, definition of ready is a checklist that keeps track of the items at the top of the product backlog that have fulfilled certain preconditions and can be added to a sprint. This is so that the developers could complete it before the end of the sprint. Difference 2. Examples of definition of done include updating documentation and building projects without any mistakes. Examples of definition of ready include that a user story is defined, feasible, testable, and clear, as well as that dependencies of a user story are recognized.
Stay tuned for more PremierAgile Learning Shorts. Thank you for watching this video. Do click on the subscribe button to get an alert for our new PremierAgile Learning Shorts.